Welcome to Simply Christianity. In this week's video, I want to talk about a common and popular objection I've heard a lot. Well, actually, it's more like an accusation. And that is Christianity arrogant when it claims that it's the only way? Or is it arrogant to say that Christianity is true and every other religion and philosophy and worldview is false? Now, obviously, I don't think it's necessarily arrogant, but I want to get something out of the way first, and that is, even if it were to be arrogant, it doesn't make it false. And this is an important distinction because that shows that it's not an objection to Christianity, because it doesn't try and show it to be false. Because if I'm arrogant, it doesn't make anything I believe in any less true, any less false. Arrogance does not dictate truth. I think that's an important thing to get out of at the start. So this isn't an objection. It is an accusation that Christians are arrogant and that Christianity is by nature arrogant. It's an arrogant belief. And what this does is it provides emotional barriers for people. It provides, these mental barriers for people. They don't want to, believe in Christianity. They don't want to hear what you have to say because they think you're arrogant. They think it's an arrogant belief. And I can see some merit to that. If I'm approached by someone who's arrogant, I don't want to listen to what they have to say. So in this video, I want to talk about how Christianity isn't arrogant so that it takes these barriers down, makes people more open and more, willing to hear what Christians have to say and what Christianity teaches. Because again, if you believe something is inherently arrogant, you're not really going to be open to hear what it has to say, what it's teaching. And so my goal here, just to restate it, is to tear down these barriers and to show that Christianity isn't arrogant in the attempt to get people to be more curious, more open, and more willing to dive in and see for themselves what they think about Christianity. So I want to go at a very slow pace. I want to take it step by step to show how it's not arrogant to make this claim that Christianity is true and all other religions are false. And I think the very easiest way to do this at first is to say that the converse isn't arrogant either. It's not arrogant for a Muslim to say that they're right, that Islam is right, and every other religion is wrong. It's not arrogant for a naturalist to say that naturalism is correct and every religion is wrong and other worldviews as well. These aren't arrogant statements. They're true statements, actually. And let me get to that. So the first step for Christians, the very first step, is to ask a simple question. Is Christianity true? If you say yes and you're fully convinced of Christianity, does that make you arrogant? I don't think so. I don't think anyone would say that makes you arrogant. If I am fully convinced that Christianity is true, so I've looked at the evidence, say, I've heard other people talk about it, I'm convinced that what other people say is true. My friends, family, they've told me about it, and I don't have any reason to distrust them. I've looked at the arguments. The absolute most important would be what Christians call the inner witness of the Holy Spirit. And this is an incredibly hard to articulate phenomena that Christians believe in. Very hard to articulate. I'm working on how to articulate now because I do really want to do a video on the inner witness of the Holy Spirit. But put very, very simply for the sake of this video, because I still haven't gotten how to articulate it yet, is that it's a very real experience of Jesus Christ. It's a very real grounding, a very real understanding that Christianity is true. And it's real just in the same sense as what I'm seeing is real, what I'm hearing is real, what I'm feeling is real, what I smell is real. These sensory experiences, it's that kind of same grounded experience. I believe it's as real as those senses. I'm not saying I'm seeing visual or auditory visions by any means. It's hard to articulate, but basically when I read the Bible, when I pray, especially when I serve others personally, I have this sense and feeling of Jesus Christ and this affirming of Christianity, this sense of peace in believing it. Again, it's very hard to articulate. If you're confused by it, please disregard it. Just understand that there is something within Christians themselves that really speaks to. Basically, it's God telling us He's real in His own way. Since the Holy Spirit's God, the inner witness is this idea of the Holy Spirit inside of us, God inside of us, showing us that He's real in different experiential ways. Again, very complex. If you don't understand it, you can comment below and maybe I can explain it better. typing up to specific questions. But regardless, so there's many ways that Christians can become convinced that Christianity is true. And none of these are arrogant. These are not arrogant reasons. It's not arrogant to believe something. It's not arrogant to believe in gravity. It's not arrogant to believe that George Washington was the first president of the United States. It's not arrogant to believe that I exist and we're not in the Matrix. It's not arrogant to believe these things. So the first step, it's not arrogant to believe in Christianity. And if I'm fully convinced, I'm convinced Christianity is a fact because of how strong this inner witness of the Holy Spirit is, because of how strong I think the evidence is, because of how much I trust the other people around me. All of these things add to this idea that I just believe Christianity is a fact. That's not arrogant still, because in my experience, it's as real as this microphone in front of me, this camera. God is as real as all these things. Christianity is as real as all these things, and so I'm convinced of it. That's not arrogant. I'm believing in something. That's not arrogance. So that's the first major step, is this coming to be convinced of something. And that process isn't arrogant. The next major step is understanding how this new belief impacts your worldview, or impacts how you relate to other worldviews. And that's where the problem lies, but I actually don't think there is a problem at all. There's something in logic called the law of non-contradiction. What this simply states is that two contradictory statements both can't be true. It's either one or the other, or none. So actually, I was thinking about using an analogy, but I think we can just use, the thing itself. Let's compare Islam to Christianity. In Islam, it's stated, the statement is that Jesus Christ never died and was taken directly to heaven. In Christianity, it's stated that Jesus Christ did in fact die physically and then was bodily raised from the dead, or came back to life. These two claims are mutually exclusive. They are contradictory, and per the law of non-contradiction, they both cannot be true. So we are left with three options. Either Islam is true and then Christianity is false, or Christianity is true and Islam is false, or both are false. Both cannot be true. That is not an option in our arsenal. It's not an option at our disposal. So if then I'm convinced that Christianity is true, then Islam has to be false in this area, right? So let's expand that to all worldviews, all religions. If Christianity is true, all these religions have to be false. And why is that? Well, all religions, all worldviews are going to contradict each other on some foundational level, or else they wouldn't be separated. Christianity contradicts naturalism, it contradicts materialism, it contradicts Buddhism, it contradicts Hinduism. We've already discussed one small area where it contradicts Islam. It contradicts Sikhism. All these different religions, worldviews, all contradict each other on foundational and very important grounds. That's why we have all these different religions. They have all these contradictions between each other. And they all can't be true. So what are we left with? Well, we're left with these two options. Either one is true and all the other ones are false, or none of them are true. They all can't be true, and two of them can't be true, three of them can't be true. It's either one and none, or none. It's a logical, non-emotional, it's not arrogant, it's not prideful, it's a logical conclusion based on the law of non-contradiction. And I think an easy way to kind of explain this is to make the assertion that when an Islam claims the same thing, they're not being arrogant either. When a naturalist claims the same thing, they're not being arrogant either. And a naturalist says that naturalism is true and Christianity is false and Islam is false and Hinduism is false, and any religion that claims that there is a supernatural out there is false. That's not arrogant. It's just, if you believe in naturalism, that's the logical conclusion. And based on the law of non-contradiction, you have to say, if you're going to be honest, that all these religions are false. Same with Islam. Islam's got to say that if you don't believe in Allah in the way we do, if you don't believe in Muhammad in the way we do, you are false. You are wrong. Same with Christianity. None of these statements are inherently, naturally arrogant. They're not prideful. Now, they can come off as arrogant. They can be said arrogantly. People can be arrogant. We are human beings after all. We can take what we believe to be true and then act as if we are more important than someone else because of it. We can act as if, because I believe Christianity is true, you're lesser for not believing it. And that is wrong. That is sinful. If a Christian does that, I think that they are doing something that is very detrimental to Christianity as a whole, and they are being arrogant. But that statement by itself is not arrogant. That is the claim I want to make. That is the point I'm making in this video. That the claim that Christianity is true and all other religions are false is not an arrogant claim. And again, it's important to make this point because people put up barriers. When they think something is arrogant, they don't want to be a part of it. So by being able to explain it and being able to show that this statement isn't arrogant and that it's actually implicit, not just in religious talks, every religion, every worldview has that implicit law of non-contradiction. Basically, you're right and everyone else is wrong. That's not arrogant. That is a fact. It's also prevalent in any other form of study. You have mathematics, science, history. Whenever there are competing claims, one is right and the others are false. So take a math example. If myself and a friend are doing a math problem, the exact same math problem, and come up with different answers, and I look over my work and I'm looking over and I'm fully convinced that I did it right, I'm going to say that his answer is wrong. I'm not going to say both our answers are right. It's not going to be a quadratic where there are two answers. If it's a simple addition problem where there is only one answer, there can't be different answers. It's a simple addition problem. We come up with two different answers. I am not arrogant in saying that he is wrong if I am fully convinced of what I've done. If it's true that I'm right, then he's wrong. That's not an arrogant claim. I may be able to say it arrogantly. I may say, you're wrong because you're stupid, or you're wrong because you just don't get it. But if I'm very am nice about it, if I'm saying, look, I don't see where I went wrong here, so you have to be wrong. That's not an arrogant claim. That's not an incorrect claim. In fact, that is a true claim. If this is right, then that has to be wrong. And that's all that statement is. So thanks for watching. If you're new here, please subscribe. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. It'll keep you up to date on content as I keep trying to churn more of these videos out. It also helps me market the channel. To that same degree, please like this video if you in fact liked it. It helps show me what types of topics you guys like, what types of formats you guys like, little things I tweak here and there, if they work or not. And again, it helps rise these videos up in searches and related videos. And finally, please comment below if you have any questions, concerns, or comments. Please, I like to engage with people. I like meeting new people if you're new here and don't know me. Please comment, ask any questions. I'm happy to answer anything. I'm open to talk about anything, especially the inner witness of the Holy Spirit stuff. If you have any questions about that, I'll do my best to comment below there. And what that'll do is it'll also let other people chime in about how they explain that. So thank you for watching so much, and to my current subscribers, thank you so much. You guys are great. Really, it just encourages me a lot to see you guys here. So I can't wait to see you next week and see what I come up with. Thanks.